It's a beautiful day today, and I'm sure you're doing great. All right, we'll be learning about the human eye. So, right now, I want you to touch your eye. Yes. So, what do you use your eye for? Use it to see, right? Okay, so clap yourself. So, the eye is the sense organ for sight. Okay. All right. So, at the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain the structure of the human eye and describe how the eye sees. Okay, now the eye as it has many parts that work together to produce a clear vision. So the eye has many parts that work together to produce a clear vision. Okay, now we can see we have the part of the eye, we have the sclera, which is also known as the white part of the eye, and it protects the eyeball. So if you are asked that what is the white part of the eye called, it is called the what? The sclera. And what does it do? It protects the eyeball. Now the pupil, or the black dot that is at the center of the eye, can you see the black dot that is at the center of the eye? So it's an opening through which light can enter the eye. So the pupil, which is the black dot that is at the center of the eye, is an opening through which light can enter the eye. So we have the iris. Can you see the iris here? Yes. So the iris is also known as the colored part of the eye, and it surrounds the pupil. Okay, and it controls how much light enters the eye by changing the size of the pupil. So the iris controls how much light enters the eye, and it does that by changing the size of the pupil. Now, can we see this cornea? Yes. So the cornea is just like a clear window that is at the front of the eye, right? And it covers the iris and the pupil. Now, you can see the cornea there very well. Yes. So it's like a clear window that is at the front of the eye, and it covers the iris and the pupil. So you can see the lens here. Yeah. So the clear lens, that lens is located behind the pupil, and it acts just like a camera. Okay, the lens acts just like a camera, and it does that by focusing light onto the retina that is at the back of the eye. So the lens focuses light onto the retina. Okay, now let me just ask you quickly, what is the white part of the eye called? Yes, it's called the sclera. Yes, very good. What is the black dot that is at the center of the eye is called? It's called the pupil. Fantastic. And what's the colored part of the eye called? Yes, it's called the iris. Clap yourself. So, what is the function of the pupil? Yes, it's an opening through which light enters the eye. Clap yourself. Clap yourself. So, what's the function of the sclera? Yes, the sclera protect the eyeball. Fantastic. Fantastic. I'm proud of you. Now, the retina. There are special cells called the cone cells and the rod cells, and they are located in the retina. The cone cells and the rod cells are located in the retina. These cells are known as photoreceptors, okay, because they help to absorb light. Okay, rod cells and the cone cells are photoreceptors because they help to absorb light. So what's the function of the cone cells? Note that the cone cells are located in the macula, or the central area of the retina, and the cone cells help us to see colors clearly and details. Okay, so the cone cells help us to what? To see colors. clearly. Do you understand? And it helps us to read clearly. So the rod cells, they are located in the peripheral or the outer area of the retina. So, and the rod cells help us to see in poor lighting and give us our night vision. So it is the rod cell that help us to see at night. It helps us to see in the dark. Okay, so don't forget that rod cells and cone cells, they are also known as photoreceptors because they help to absorb light. Cone cell help us to see colors, while rod cells help us to see in the dark. All right, you can see that the rod cell looks like rod, the cone cell looks like a cone. All right, so these are photoreceptor cells. So how does the eye see? So we're going to learn, and at the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain how the eye sees. So this is what happens whenever you look at any object. It is light that reflects off the object that we see. It is light that helps to reflect whatever we see. So the light rays enter the eye through the cornea at the front of the eye. Remember that the cornea is like a clear window. Okay, the cornea is like a clear window at the front of the eye, and it covers the iris and the pupil. So the light rays enter the eye through the cornea at the front of the eye. Okay, so the light passes through a watery fluid, that's the aqueous humor, and enters the pupil. Okay, passes through a watery fluid that is known as the aqueous humor and enter the pupil to reach the lens. You know that the lens is behind the pupil. Okay, so the lens can now change in thickness to bend the light, which will focus it onto the retina. You know that the lens focuses light onto the retina. Okay, and on the way to the retina, the light passes through a thick clear fluid called a vitreous humor. The vitreous humor fills the eyeball and helps to maintain its round shape. Okay, now the light then reaches the back of the eye and hits the retina. Okay, so the retina then translates the light into electrical impulses, which are then carried to the brain by the optic nerve. Okay, so it is the optic nerve that helps to carry what information to the brain. So finally, the visual cortex or center of the brain interpret these impulses as what we see. So it is the brain that helps us to interpret whatever we see, and that explains how we see. You can see that the part of the eyes, they are very, very important. Don't forget that the white part of the eye is the sclera, the black part of the eye, that is the pupil, the colored part of the eye, that's the iris. Okay, now, and also we have the rod cells and the cone cells, which are the photoreceptors. Okay, so what's the function of the rod cells? The rod cells help us to see in the dark. Very good. And the cone cell help us to see colors clearly. All right, so we've come to the end of this lesson. Ensure you take good care of yourself, and do have a wonderful day and be great. Bye.